The one thing that I keep on hearing from my students is, look, Nathan, how do I get first class grades, right? They've watched all the YouTube videos, they've read books, they've done everything they can. And at the end of the day, they go and they submit and they come back to me and they're like, look, I'm still not achieving and I'm still not getting the grades that I want to get, even though I spent hours at the library or whatever it may be. And I just wanted to share with you what I share with them that helps them move from like a 2-2 to a high 2-1 or even a first in a very short amount of time. So firstly, it's an understanding of how university actually works and what is it that you're ultimately being given marks for. So you're doing all this learning, there's lots going on, but the mistake that we often make is that we think university is like school or college in the respect that we're just going to get marks for what we know, or we're just going to be assessed on what we know. When in truth, at university level, things change. They don't just want to know that you can remember some stuff, but they want to know that you can show deeper level learning skills, right? Now, it doesn't matter what assessment you're going into, whether it's an exam, a report, whether you are doing a presentation, some group work, whatever it is, there are only 4 things that you'll be given marks for. Only 4. And if you're able to master demonstrating the skills and abilities in these 4 areas, then you have the highest likelihood, the highest probability of achieving first class grades. So if you want to take a note, you can. But the first one is demonstrating your knowledge. So straight off the bat, the first thing that they're looking for is, do you know the concept, the topic, the information, and the key terms associated with that area of knowledge, right? Whatever your degree subject is, it will have its own kind of language and terminology, and your ability just to be able to say, this is what this concept is, or this is what this topic is, should get you some initial marks. However, what happens is majority, and I would say about 80% of students stop there. They focus on just describing, just explaining, just outlining, when actually they need to go a step further into these other 3 higher learning level skills. So the next one is number 2, your understanding. To be able to demonstrate that you understand the knowledge is only done through application. So if you know something, the next thing your lecturer is looking for is, can you apply this knowledge to solve a problem, to answer a question, to do something in the real world, to apply it towards a case study or an example. So your ability to apply knowledge is the next thing that you're going to be given marks for, and actually many more marks than just having the knowledge. In most cases in exams, just defining key terms will get you a few marks, but being able to apply core knowledge from lecture 7 or from this topic is what's going to get you the higher marks. All right, so the next one, analysis and synthesis. I'll say it again, analysis and synthesis. So your ability then to analyze information, and what that means is going to mean slightly different things in different topics. So it might mean something slightly different in the sciences compared to, say, law or in the social sciences, but ultimately it's your ability to break down the information that's been presented to you, okay, and to then look at it in kind of siloed parts or into smaller parts and be able to critique it. So it's not just about, okay, this is the knowledge or this is the theory or this is the concept. It's about how useful is this concept? How credible is its use today? Or how credible is its use for this particular problem to be solved? So now you're beginning to analyze in the context of solving for a problem or responding to a question. And this is the kind of deeper level learning that universities want to see from you. So analysis is about firstly being able to break down the parts of a topic and then to synthesize research together, to bring different viewpoints of different researchers together to be able to give a more accurate overview of how useful this concept can be in solving the problem. All right. Now, I know I said a lot of words and it might seem a lot to do, but I'm going to stay with me. I'm going to give you a couple of prompts and questions to answer to help to make sure that you've actually got this under your belt, whatever lecture you're doing. So that's knowledge, understanding, analysis and synthesis. And then the final skill that you need to be able to show is evaluation and judgment. So your evaluation ultimately is the ability to evaluate, to find the value of either a piece of research, a topic, a concept, a solution that's been produced, a case that you're looking at, and to make a judgment on it. So in your own learning, you might say, this is the knowledge. Let's say the knowledge, I'm going to use something a little bit abstract. The knowledge is the capital city of the world. Here's the knowledge. The understanding then is demonstrated by the application. So that could be, okay, how would you get to the three largest cities in the world? How would you travel between the three largest cities in the world? So that then starts to show us you need to have a bit of an understanding of, first you need to know what the three largest capital cities are in the world. And then you've got to know what's going to be the best method, right, of transport to get to the places. Like that shows that you actually know where they are. Then the next question for the analysis and synthesis, and a bit of that's going to bring out your critical thinking skills, is then to say, okay, what is the best mode of transport? What is the best mode of transport to use? And that then becomes a bit more interesting, because then you can start to go into things like, we start to break it down. You can use a car, you can use an electric vehicle, you can use boat, you can use aeroplanes. And so you start to think, well, if it's to get there fastest, you might want to use this. If you want to be the most economical, you want to use this. If you want to be good to the environment, you would want to use this. And this is where your analysis and synthesis and critical thinking skills will start to show through. So the next one then is evaluation and judgment. And this is the piece that students often miss out, but this is where you can access probably the most marks. And that ultimately is your ability to make a decision and a judgment on what should be done based on the research that you've acquired, based on the information that you've gone through and what you've read. Your evaluation skills might say, taking in context all the different variety of ways you can get between these three large cities, the most important factor to consider is going to be the impact on the environment. You could say that. And because of that, this will be the best way to travel between the three cities for the lowest carbon consumption. And you put that forward. You've just evaluated and made a judgment call. And this is beyond just knowing stuff. This is now how you've applied the knowledge, how you've been able to demonstrate that and communicate that back to the lecturer. So those are the four main areas that you need to be able to absolutely master and dominate to be able to achieve some of your highest grades. So whatever assessment comes your way, you have the right information to either demonstrate your knowledge, demonstrate your understanding, your analysis and synthesis abilities, and your evaluation and judgment skills as well. Look, I'm hoping that this academic year is going to be a great academic year for you, and I'm wishing you all the best in your degree.